here on the Dave Elswick Show. And I brought Colonel Reynolds on to tell you about a couple of events that he's got coming on. And, of course, he's my man I go to when we're going to talk about geopolitical things, especially when war is involved with them. So let's talk about that in just a second. First of all, you're out raising money for your campaign. So where are you going to be?
Well, we've got a lot of fundraisers lining up, but I'm going to talk about two this morning.
Okay.
If I can. One is tomorrow. So if you want to come into a meet and greet fundraiser tomorrow, Saturday from 12 noon to 4 p.m., it's at 1400 John Hardin Drive in Jacksonville. And the best way to remember it is, you know where Guatney Chevrolet is, the big flag. Well, if you go just on the other side of the 4-lane highway of 67, it's right there.
There you go.
It's real
easy way to find it.
Easy. And then, so please come out. The other one will be January 31st, which is Monday, and it's the big white building at Sir Speedy Printing, and the address there is 1300 North Shackelford. And the time for that one's late in the evening, 6 to 8. So if you get off work, please come down and meet. It's a meet and greet, but it's also a fundraiser, and we're hoping we get as many people there as possible.
Okay, keep that all in mind. Now, I talked to the colonel on Monday night when I was out at the Faulkner County Republican Party. I was out talking to them. One of the things I talked about was what's going on in the Ukraine. And as God is my witness, that we've got Biden in control of things.
Oh, Lord.
In this situation scares me.
It scares
to death.
me. It should scare every American.
Yeah, as far as that. Now, I don't want to go to war.
Me either.
I'm not one of those people that, I'm not a chicken hawk and I'm not a war hawk. I'm neither one. Mm-hmm. But I do know this. You got to make sure that with the big bullies on the block, you got to send a message to them.
You do have to send a message. And I'll tell you what, and I don't want to go to war either. But
both of us have been shot at. That's the reason.
That's right. And I don't have a lot of confidence, though, in this particular administration. And but the reality is what it is. At this point, we have to make a decision of whether we are going to really support the Ukraine. They're not part of NATO.
No, they want to be part of NATO.
They've wanted to be part of NATO ever since 2014, since when Russia took over and annexed. Well, they annexed Crimea.
Crimea. They want all those
and
deep
we
water
did nothing.
ports.
So unfortunately, we set the tone right then that we would do nothing for the Ukraine.
Uh-huh.
And so now we're at a point where they are threatening the entire country. But if we allow it to go, then you can say bye-bye to Taiwan.
Yeah, see, we got so many bad actors in the world right now.
That's
you
right.
got Russia and you got China. They've always been bad actors, but they've been emboldened after what happened in Afghanistan. Then you've got Iran. Then you've got North Korea. You got a lot of bad actors, and I don't know. I can't even name all of them that are in Africa.
Well, I agree with you. In this case, I think that we're going to give in to some demand. We'll give in to some demands that Russia has. And they'll be given some assurances, probably backdoor, that we will not allow Ukraine to come into NATO. I think that's what you're going to see. And maybe for 5 years or 10 years or something of that nature to avoid a war.
Or after Putin dies.
Or after Putin dies. Right. Well, and so he's been there too long, hasn't he?
30 years. I didn't realize it'd been that long.
Oh, yeah.
30 years. And back in the early 2000s, he said that he wanted to bring back the Soviet Union. And I believe that's exactly what he wants to do.
Well, when USSR broke apart, the Soviet Union, they lost control of 14 of their states, basically. Yeah. And they all went independent. But the one that really stuck in their craw, the one that they really hated was the Ukraine, because they feel like they're very close. They say they go back into the 9th century together. Their languages are very close, just about everything. So they really got upset when the Ukraine left, became independent, and they thought they had it when they had a Russian, basically puppet president that was elected, and then the people turned on him in 2014.
Yep, they did.
And they ousted him for a president that would look more to the West, to the European Union, to help them grow their economy. And that's when they went into the Crimea and they took it.
Yeah, everybody remember that, Russia, basically, they're like the husband that says, oh, you want to divorce me? Well, if I can't have you, nobody can. That's kind. I mean, I'm just
Well, I
saying
mean,
that's kind of what Putin's kind of saying right now.
well, it's and all the other countries now, they're putting a little pressure on all of them too. And in fact,
Germany not looking very positive right now.
well, no, they're
they
not.
worry me.
They worry me a lot, especially they're in charge of. There's 4 battle groups that were established. I don't want to get into all the details after 2014. NATO really had no troops in Eastern Europe, and so after that incident, the Crimea incident, they moved troops, NATO troops, to the eastern border.
No, why do that when you got America in your back pocket?
Well, right, exactly. Well, we pay most of NATO, and that's why
right.
And that's why I just love Donald Trump for trying to make them pay their fair share. We're supposed to pay 2% of the GDP.
2%.
2% of your GDP. And we're the only 2 countries that were doing it were us and Canada. If I'm not mistaken, it was Canada. All the other ones did not. So, and they had the most to gain. So they just said, let America pay for it. And Donald Trump did the right thing, making them pay their fair share.
Yeah, because, they get the biggest economy over in Europe, the Germans do. They don't have any debt to speak of. They're in a solid place right now, and they refuse to pay their 2%.
That's exactly right. So, but
anyway,
I
still think war is in their blood. I just got to tell you, I don't trust the Germans.
Well, I don't trust the Russians, to be honest.
I don't trust them
I don't
either.
trust them at all. But we'll see how this thing pans out. But if I would say it's more likely than not that there will not be war. There'll be some kind of an agreement, but it'll be an agreement that benefits Russia, not us or NATO or Ukraine.
Okay, so you got the Ukraine right now. I think an even more serious geopolitical place is Taiwan.
Without question.
They've been saying this since, I think it was when Clinton was president, that the head of the military in China said, L.A. or Taipei, you choose.
Right.
That was a pretty strong statement.
Very strong. Yep.
From the CCP.
I think it worries me. That's the one that keeps me up at night because that's the one that could really, really hurt America. And so I hope it doesn't happen. But if there's ever a time that if they ever wanted to invade, it's with this president and this administration and this Congress. We have a weak Congress, and we have a weak president. And so that is usually when bad things happen.
And it always happens after you do something stupid, like the way they pulled out of Afghanistan, because that showed us to be weak and we wouldn't fight.
That's right.
You wouldn't continue to fight or whatever. And we left our people back there. And what are they saying in Ukraine? I wouldn't want to be an American in Ukraine right now. You know what they're saying? They're saying, get yourself a car and get out of there any way you can. Because we're not coming to get you.
That's exactly right. So anyway, can I plug my website?
Yes.
I want everybody to know that if you didn't get the addresses for these fundraisers, please just go to our website. It's electconrad.com, electconrad.com. You can find out all about me, what I'm doing.
That's easy.
That's easy.
That's an easy one.
I can't believe it was available when I when I got it, but it was.
But how many Conrads is? I mean, the Conrad that I know was dead. Well, not except for you.
Thanks.
And that was the guy who played the Lone Ranger on radio and then played Cannon on TV.
Oh, really?
You remember Conrad?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
that's right. Big, heavy, big guy,
big,
bald guy. Yeah,
didn't look like you.
Well, but I remember him. Yeah, that was back in the 70s.
You're stud muffin compared to him.
Thanks, Dave. I appreciate it.
Anyway, yeah, I'm really worried about what Z is thinking about over in China.
I am too. And
because they don't have much longer. The country is under such a totalitarian regime. I mean, they got their thumb on everything, but they're letting them have enough things from the West that they give them a taste. It's kind of like the drug dealer. You give them a taste, and then they want more of it.
Well, there's a 6-month window, I think, that we need to be really scared about, and that's starting in the summer going to December, because we're going to have a Republican Congress that will come in. There's without question. And so if they're going to do something, they need to do it this year.
Yeah. And let me keep you in mind that war can be a very good happening for a sitting president because the people tend to rally around the president if things get tough.
Well, I get real concerned when I see people at the podium talk. The very first thing out of their mouth is war, war, war. That, especially when they don't have children that may go to war.
Yeah,
that bothers me.
That's true. Saki, why don't you sign up?
Yeah,
Come on. Water's fine. All right.
I agree. Dave, thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming in.
I appreciate it.
I appreciate you.